swimming towards a vicious dream. Don't you know we're the walking dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking fear and hatred, dull and jaded. It's all been debated and manipulated. Nothing's ever as it seems. We're bound to believe everything they scream. Don't you know we're the walking dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead. Oh, 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 oh. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead. Oh, 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 oh. Highly sedated, intoxicated. We're automated and overpopulated. Don't you know we're the walking dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead. Oh, 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 oh. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead. Oh, 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 oh. Highly sedated, intoxicated. We're automated and overpopulated. We're all fish in a stream, swimming towards a vicious dream. Don't you know we're the walking dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking fear and hatred, dull and jaded. It's all been debated and manipulated. Nothing's ever as it seems. We're bound to believe everything they scream. Don't you know we're the walking dead? Our lives were meant to be this bleak. Somehow they got into our heads. We're wide awake, yet still asleep. We're the walking dead. We're the walking dead. Oh, oh.
Ah there, the Gone with the Governor. And I am here with my lovely friend, Bebe Rose, who loves all things governor. Okay, maybe not,
No,
but
what?
now I'm putting words into her mouth. We are expecting, hopefully, another person or two. Machand refuses to watch Fear, and I can kind of understand that. No Morgan.
No
And,
bashing.
and yeah, we'll see who else shows up, but we are going to talk about the mid-season premiere of the final season of Fear the Walking Dead, which is a mouthful. But
It is.
tell them about you, baby.
Oh, that's right. Hi y'all. I'm Baby Rose. I love Fear the Walking Dead. I'm so excited to talk about this premiere. But to cut it short, y'all can follow me on Instagram, dim_mayhem, DYM, and on Instagram and Twitter, aka X. And you can also follow me if you want to on my YouTube channel called Honey Babies. I will put in the chat Honey Babies Kids Academy, where I teach, kids Braille alphabets, numbers, and all that good stuff. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 o'clock a.m.
Very cool. I see TWD Mombies in the chat saying the link isn't working. It's the same link that I sent to Bebe, so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe close and reopen your Zoom application. I mean, can't really send you I'd be sending you the same link, so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe she just didn't like the episode and doesn't want to be on the spot to say that. Big Rob says hey. And
Hey,
Gladys
Big Rob.
Neal says hey. And Portrait of a Lady says good evening, everybody.
Olay.
Or bonsoir, but we're not doing the French thing in this show.
What's German? What's German for hello?
No.
No.
I don't know. I know auf Wiedersehen or something like that is goodbye, but who in the chat knows what German is for hello? Or I can ask Google. What is German for hello? Hello. Apparently that is hello is
Oh, really?
German for hello. So that makes it real easy. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have someone else here in a moment. But let's talk about this season opener, which started out with nobody that we know.
No.
But eventually, we see this nice community. At first, I mean, they're playing soccer. And I'm like, is this in the before time? Is this like a flashback? Is this, you're going to see the goalie very much smiling at what's going on. And then I saw the net was like half destroyed. But at first I was like, this looks like something from, beforehand. It looks like just a bunch of kids playing, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the Emissary Suites, and there's Alex. Guten Tag.
Hey, Alex.
Guten Tag.
Hello.
She snuck in. Guten Tag is apparently the what we're supposed to be saying here. So.
Danke.
But yeah, let me see if I can adjust our.
Part of my family is German, so it was fun to hear this episode.
Did you understand most of it? Or any of it?
Yeah, I did.
At least,
it was very fun.
At least they are, using the proper language and not just gobbledygook.
Yeah, they are.
Which they've done on Star Trek, and I totally understood the Klingon. No, I didn't.
How are you guys?
I'm good
tired.
and busy and tired. I ate. That's going to be a problem. but
I took a nap, and I didn't want to stop, but I am here. For fear. I am here for fear.
Yes.
I'm here for fear. Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
I have
But-
to say, go ahead.
Oh no, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I have to say, the episode started out and it didn't suck to start out with. At the end,
I was
had some
excited to
quick
see they were
quibbles.
playing soccer.
Yeah, I did think that it was. They call it football.
Yes.
I as I was saying, I thought it was in the before time, and then I noticed the net wasn't really in good shape. And then, there were other clues afterwards as they were going back. That's like, okay, this is not the before time, but they
Nope.
were acting like it, which is cool.
Yeah.
That actually excited me. I was like, how are they able to just carry on like it's the good old days and not have any worries in the world? I was actually really excited to see that.
Me too. And I thought that the hotel looked so familiar.
It was like a full circle thing.
Yeah, I was like, that hotel looked so familiar. I said because the inside almost looked like when Daryl and Codron was fighting. I'm like, if y'all shooting in the same set, and then the hotel itself looks like, I don't know, was it in season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead when they went to a hotel room and the walkers was falling off? I'm like, are y'all shooting at this place again and y'all redoing this now? But yeah, it was beautiful. They was having a good old time.
I do have to say something. Big Rob says, "Oh wow, the governor liked this episode." I didn't say that. I liked the opening. We will talk about the whole thing. There were parts I liked, but I'm gonna quibble towards the end. Yeah, but I did notice it said emissary suites and not embassy suites. I mean, we know what it was supposed to be,
Yeah.
but apparently they didn't get any rights from Embassy Suites, or they didn't get a sponsorship, so they had to change the name. Unless there is an Emissary Suites, but I don't think so. I think they were trying to be an Embassy Suites.
It just made me think of the hotel from the earlier seasons of Fear the Walking Dead when they were in that hotel.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Brought back all the feels.
I know.
Remembering like Alicia playing with her butterfly knife.
Oh, that is right. I keep forgetting.
What season was that? Because I have not seen. I will admit, I have not seen every season.
Was it
of
season?
Fear. So the reveal
3?
later on of this villain, I'm like, who the fuck is this? I have no idea. But
It was season 2.
yeah,
Okay, that's what.
I watched like the first episode, and I'm like, yeah, I wasn't that into the first season. Why am I watching this more? So I kind of skipped until Morgan came in, and I caught a little bit here and there. I tried to watch some, but yeah, I don't think it's quite as painful as The World Beyond, but I haven't gone back to fill in all the gaps yet, so. I hear season 2 is good, and the whole Mexico saga is good, because they avoid drinking the water, and but I was not into it.
Yeah, season 2 was okay for me, but what really truly I think got people into it is when like the autos, like Troy
In the ranch.
in the ranch.
Yeah.
That's when people really start paying attention, and they like Troy for some reason, because he is a good villain and what have you. And man, he is a good villain. Him and Teddy from this whole Jenny. I don't know. She's kind of complex to me. I don't want to say she's a villain, but at the same time she's not. But Troy and Teddy, they keep you on your toes. And because after this whole show, this episode, people was like, I'm watching Fear again because of Daniel Sharman, aka Troy. And so, like, I don't know how many views it got, from the first episode, but when Troy came back, that's when people start watching again, like the show again.
Well,
So
I'm going to jump slightly ahead here because, if you don't know that Troy ends up being the guy behind these assholes who are after Madison, then you're in the wrong fucking chat. But when he took off his glasses and it's like, it's not pretty, is it? I'm like, you got one eye different colored than the other. You're still, still half the audience women are going to be like, hey, let's go back to my room.
Really?
You're it's not hideous. You got, in fact, it's more of a conversation starter. It's,
And he neglected to tell them what he did to deserve it.
of course.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, see this? She did this to me after I did all kinds of horrible stuff to her and her family and killed that guy's
And
daughter.
destroyed my own family's ranch with a horde of walkers.
And the audacity to say my brother. I'm like, but you and Nick were responsible for your brother's death, though.
Right. Right.
Like, so did we? I'm like, I know I saw what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I didn't watch it, but I gathered from context what was going on, and he's responsible for the death of Ophelia. I mean, right
Yes.
there, she should have hit him harder. But yeah. So, but
Right.
let's back up because we
Yeah.
catch up with Strand.
We catch up with Strand and Madison together. That was really
Well,
exciting.
even before that, we can see that he is in a brand new relationship. He's got a son. He seems to be much different than the Strand we knew from the tower.
Yeah, it was cool because what's his previous partner husband or what have you, Thomas, was it Thomas or something like that? I mean, because he was in season 2.
Yeah.
He was in. I mean, that was the love of his life because he played in Mission Impossible 2 with Tom Cruise, the main villain, and he was like all like that was Strand's heart, soul, and what have you. And then it's kind of like through the episodes you see Strand like doing some dumb stuff because that's Strand, and also too of a broken heart. Now looking back on it, and now that he found Frank and Klaus, and I'm just happy that even though he gets on my nerves, but I'm just happy that he found someone.
Who gets on your nerves?
Strand.
Strand. Or Anton.
But Strand did a Morgan kicking him to the wall. Oh man, I was cussing up the storm. I was like, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But I'm happy. I'm not going to josh him on it. No, happy for him.
I think that coming into this season, knowing that it was going to be the last, I kind of tried to set everything aside from like past storylines, still knowing what happened, of course, and taking it into consideration. But I really am trying to not compare it and just really take it for what it is and kind of like just pick up with this season being new and fresh, or at least these last episodes. That way I can enjoy it.
You
Because
can ignore certain seasons, most definitely, but
yeah, I mean, I just feel like it felt new and it felt fresh, and I think that was really necessary, especially for us to see Strand in a new light.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it made sense, and that was but you knew something had to drop. Now, when they first said there's a visitor, and with having trouble breathing, I was like, could be Madison, but wouldn't it be neat if it was Alicia? But but apparently not.
We'll get to that.
But that whole thing, he comes in. Madison cannot fucking take a hint. I mean, were I in her position and Strand shows up and gives her this hug, like, I'm so glad you're alive, and then says, I'm not this person you're talking about, I would be like, okay, well, you bear a striking resemblance, but all right, I'm going to go along with this Anton thing until I have time to speak to you privately and just, and respect what you have going on. But no, she's like, no, you're Victor Strand. You're Victor Strand. You can't lie to me, Victor. You don't know. It's like, bitch, shut up. Let him do his thing and, keep your mouth shut until you figure out what's going on.
I agree. And I agree. And I think I think in her mind, if I had to go in her mind, is that because they haven't seen each other since the
Stadium.
stadium, it's kind of like, why are
Did you
you
see the
acting like this?
stadium, Kyle?
I saw parts of the stadium, and I started watching that season, and I know the people were camping outside, and Charlie was like one of them, but I didn't see the fall of the stadium and all that stuff. So
Yeah, so it's kind of like where that memory,
Mm-hmm.
they last saw each other. It's kind of like now for all these years of reuniting, it's kind of like I'm back and right now. But yeah, she should have read the room kind of like,
And
oh
emotions are high.
yeah,
Yeah.
and knowing in a way kind of like, okay, this is in her mind, this is Strand, so okay, oh Anton, okay Anton, and then once Klaus and Frank leave the room, then they can talk, privately. But yeah,
yeah,
it's like
insisting,
Madison, read the room.
yeah,
Like,
insisting
There was
that
actually,
you're Strand when it's like, obviously you got something going on here. You don't want to be known as Strand. We were friends and allies at one point. Maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but no, Madison's like, well, I'm just going to insist that he's Strand because, I've never done anything that I have to hide, like steal fucking children. So,
right.
mm-hmm.
There was a little part of me that uh, before he gave her that hug, I kind of was like, well, I mean, there are such things as like doppelgangers, and we don't really know a whole lot about Strand. What if he had a twin? Or what if he really does have a doppelganger? But then he gave her that hug, and I was like, oh shit, okay, yeah, typical.
I mean,
I was
also,
like,
he could have, when giving her the hug, it's like, I'm known as Anton here. Go along with
Mhm.
it. Talk later.
Yeah.
Makes
He could have
sense.
given her a clue, but,
he was at a loss for words.
Yeah.
he was very emotional at the moment, but still, you know,
But was struggling though, and that's the sad part, with Strand, because just the look at Madison. See, I would think that with the flashbacks, if it was Alicia that he looked at, then you get the flashback of season 6 or season 7, and season 7, mainly season 7, how he was. But Madison is just like the trigger, like going back to like how he was in season 7. I'm like,
Mhm.
dang, I thought Madison maybe like would trigger like season 4.
Yeah.
Since that's the last, but season 7, god dang. But yeah, it's like I don't want to be that person anymore. It's like if I'm around you, then I'm going to go back to where I was. But it's kind of
Yeah.
it's really sad. Now to think about it, it breaks my heart.
yeah.
Yeah, it is sad.
Let's see.
But yeah, I mean, they had a nice community there, and they apparently helped everybody. And I kind of like that Anton / Strand was a part of that. And it's like we help everybody, and he just wants to help people, kind of atoning for what he did at the tower, and how he became the villain for a while and pushed people off the roof and all that stuff. But yeah, and then of course Madison comes in to mess the whole thing up, and
I don't think she messed it up.
and then his new husband partner seemed
Frank.
very willing to be like
Oh,
she's making a mistake, but then was getting a little suspicious when he was, insisting. I mean, also he could have said, "Look, at one time in my life, I was known as Victor Strand, and I did some stuff, as we all do, that was not very good. I've abandoned that. I am no longer that person, so I've taken on a new name." And if he said that, it would have, basically smoothed over the whole thing.
yep.
People on these shows don't know how to fucking communicate. It's very simple, It's like he could have just told the truth. It's like, I am now Anton. That life, that Victor Strand, that is no longer the person I am. At one point, I pretended I was Morgan Jones for about 13 seconds, and then, So this is not the first time, but
So I was wondering if he already knew the language or if he learned it with them, because it's not going to be easy to learn a whole language during the apocalypse. You don't have like your Rosetta Stone, and you don't have like.
Well, I don't know. Maybe because there was like a time jump between the first half of season 8 and this one. So
I don't think it was that long. It might have been some
flashcards.
months,
I don't know
but-
if they found flashcards. Hey, what is this?
Well,
mean?
there was a time jump, of what, like 6 years or something when, in which time Morgan became a child hunter and all that shit.
Yeah.
So he could have learned it in that time, but then again, Strand always struck me as someone who was cultured and educated, and he might have known several languages. He might know French. He could have been watching, the Daryl show and been like, I know what they're saying. He could have known several languages. It would not surprise me, but, there's also the fact that there wasn't enough time between when he was separated from everybody and the beginning of the season because, Mo grew up. So
Yeah, because I thought that Strand knew kind
7
of knew
years.
several languages. Because this seemed like that's kind of like a Strand thing. Like he knows more than one languages. and
Yeah.
what have you. But him speaking German shocked the crap out of me. I'm like, what do you know? Like, gosh, it's like no wonder why you want to keep to yourself and you don't want to throw people off the roof because he is self-reliant. You can't fault him, but it's just, yeah, he knows
was a
German,
lot.
y'all.
yeah.
And then when he was talking about everybody deserving second chances, I was just like, oh yeah, he should know. He's had like 25 chances.
Yeah. He, well, someone said Strand recited Latin, right? It's like, I know a little Latin. That doesn't help me all that much with other languages. I know
I
a
sang
pour
Latin.
la français, but that didn't help me in the Daryl episodes because they speak as they would at a normal speed and not really slow for idiots like me. And, yeah, there was a 7-year time jump. I mean, it's also possible he could have lost his memory, except he gave her that hug. And that hug gave him an opportunity to say, my name is Anton here. Don't, go along with it. We'll talk, there's so much that they could have done.
Yeah,
And then-
there is.
And then when she was a bitch and not, going along with it, instead of insisting that he doesn't know who Victor Strand was, he could have said, look, at one point in my life, that was my name. And I got involved with some people, and I did some things that I'm not proud of, and I left that identity behind. So for all intents and purposes, I am now Anton.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You're so hung up on the fact that he didn't do that.
they never do anything that, makes sense. And we're going to talk about that later as well.
Oh,
But he's got the whole council there, and his hubby, partner is a little suspicious, and sends their son. What Caleb was it?
Klaus.
Klaus. I just got to remember the fish from American Dad. Sent Klaus off to, be with help out Madison and all that stuff, and Strand's like, I don't want her. Anton's like, I don't want him alone with her. It's like,
No.
you're acting suspicious. You're like, no, I'm not this guy. I don't know what she's talking about, but don't let her talk to people, alone. It's
In the radio, you making it all suspicious now. Like how you
Oh
take
yeah.
it. I'm like,
I was excited to hear Daniel though.
yeah.
yeah.
That's
Daniel seems to have progressed past his fuzzy face. So I'm not sure what happened there.
And everybody still wants to know where Skidmark is.
oh, he's
yes.
probably somewhere. enjoying his water with the
Well-
umbrella in it, saying, "I'm taking a break. Y'all better leave me alone."
He's a cat.
Meow meow meow.
Cats are, they are very adaptable. I have a cat here. His name is Herbie, who was rescued from the streets of Philadelphia. And you can still kind of tell that he was no stranger to dumpster diving, but now he's like, when I'm making a sandwich, he's like meowing for me to give him ham. So he's adaptable. And I'm sure if he ended up back on the street, he would figure out, quite quickly how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's and then of course people who are chasing now. If Madison's just broadcasting out there, hey, come to Padre on the radio. First of all, if she's saying come to Padre, why don't these guys who are looking for Padre know where it is? That doesn't kind of make sense if she's like, hey, everyone, come to Padre. We're making it a better place. Then these guys should know where it is without having to chase down, Madison. But of course,
I feel like Padre's always been such a secret. Nobody could find it unless the right people found them to take them there.
Yeah, because remember in season with season 7, like where Alicia and Morgan couldn't even find Padre until they thought the tower was Padre. But they realized that Strand was in charge of the tower. But yeah, nobody know where Padre was.
Yeah, but she's saying that they put the call out there and said, parents, your children are here. If you're looking for your children, we can reunite you. And some parents showed up. So how did those parents
I think it was probably one of those things where she probably put out the APB or whatever and gave them a spot and a location to meet. And there was probably scouts there watching people come in and probably vetting them and then taking them there. I don't think she would have just given up the location of Padre.
True.
Obviously, she hasn't.
But all they need to do is have one of their people go in and pretend to be, I'm looking for, they don't have to send in a full
They have
party.
to know somebody.
Yeah, so maybe somebody on the inside probably gave out the location. But
Yeah, I mean, but all they need to do is say, hey, I heard your stuff on the radio. You probably don't have my child. I think that they're dead, but, I'm looking for a community. I would love to help. They don't even have to pretend they're looking for their child, but that they heard the call. Mm-hmm. The people on this show are stupid. Even, and then for Mr. How long has it been since Mexico?
6 seasons. Well,
Yes, but in the show.
5 seasons.
In the show, I mean, we just had a 7-year time jump. Before that, there was at least a several-year time jump before Morgan showed up.
Oh, I don't know timeline-wise, but I know season-wise.
If they're caught up to
I think
the
that
main
season
show,
4 was the first season that didn't have Mexico.
that was like, timeline-wise.
it's got to be at least a decade. And Troy
somewhere
is
around
still,
there,
is spent the last 10 years trying to hunt down Madison.
Well, what season did Dwight come into Fear the Walking Dead?
Season 5.
I think it was 5.
And that was right after Rick, right?
Yeah.
So that was
after
right
Rick
before
left?
that was right before the 10-year time jump.
Right. So it's been at least 10 years.
10 years, like 10 plus years, maybe. I want to give it 12.
And
12, 13, 14.
That's what I hate about TWD is that I'm always so foggy on the timeline.
Yeah, me too. And I'm just like, oh, really? don't math me. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious. I mean, has Troy had these people with him for 10 years? Has he been gathering for 10 years? Because
No,
No.
he hadn't. No, he hadn't.
He said he was wandering for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But
But that also brings up something that I wanted to talk about. I was really glad to see that the Germans were protecting Madison and that they were so caring and loving right off the bat. I love that. I kind of was wondering how she got there, but I'm sure we'll probably find out at some point.
Well, they said that she was that they found her, and she was having trouble breathing, and they brought her in.
Oh, they just found her out there somewhere.
Because remember the first
that.
guy had like shown up, and he had a cut in his arm, which luckily wasn't a bite, and they were helping him and feeding him, and then it's like, oh, we got someone else, and we found her. You know, one of our. I guess they still send out people scavenging and stuff. I mean, I would, and
Yeah.
and they.
I mean,
happen
they
to
were
find
making
her.
schnitzel. Like they have to have. They must be going somewhere to find these ingredients.
I mean, I don't know
Or
what's in
maybe they're
schnitzel.
pretty resourceful and have their own gardens. Who knows?
Well, you could see the gardens when they were playing soccer.
Soccer.
But I see the gardens there, and I'm thinking, you know, by the amount of people in that community, here's one problem that The Walking Dead has always had, is they don't know how many acres of growth of, you know, crops it takes to feed a population. Because what Maggie had over at Hilltop and what these people have and what they had in... I don't even know where they had their crops from for the world beyond. But they don't really figure out, okay, even at the prison, the amount of acreage they have, it takes a long time to grow this food.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some crops you can, you know, harvest several times a year. Some of them, it's a once-a-year thing. It takes a while and a lot of, you know, resources. And to have just a little bit of land inside the prison, it's... Yeah, they don't know their... I'm not a farming expert, and if anyone out there knows more than me, please, you know, let me know your thoughts. But how many acres it takes to just feed one person, you know, is, you know, for any length of time.
Yeah, are there any
is a
farmers
lot.
in the chat? Let us know, farmers.
Yep, or anyone who took architectural engineering in college.
Either or. Yeah. And then they decide to take Klaus. Well, or no, Klaus and Madison ran away, right?
Yeah.
And then they wanted to take Victor and Frank to find them. And then here comes...
Well, Victor, a.k.a. Anton, kind of volunteered for that. Because
he did.
And he figured out where they went by them taking the stuff off. He was anxious not to have these armed people take over the community or fight outside the community.
And to save Klaus. Yeah.
Right, and to save Klaus. I mean, it actually makes me wonder how long this community has been able to last since, you know, Troy and his goons were able to very easily break in and take it over, you know, as soon as they decided to. You know, they would have a much more difficult time with, say, Alexandria or, you know, or the Tower or any other community that we know of for them to just, you know, come in like that. But it did not seem, these Germans were great, but they, you know, nice people, but it did seem that their defenses were a little lacking.
They kind of remind me of Alexandria a bit.
They've got to have
Alexandria
some
before
good
Rick.
defenses, though,
Yeah,
for
before
them
Rick.
for them to be living the way that they do and being able to have normal, like, soccer games. There has to be some kind of good security around.
Well, good defenses against the biters.
Yeah. But this thing, it seems like they like to accept people so easily. You know, that's why, like, I'm not comparing the show, but just how the people, you know, in Alexandria were before Rick and them came along, how they just, oh, hi, you know, and everything. And, you know, when Sasha got mad, kind of like, you realize what's going on out here because she's been traumatized. And it's kind of like, if Madison were to stay, if this whole show went different, it's kind of like, you know, I understand y'all got something nice and what have you, but there are a lot of things that's going on outside. You just cannot accept people inside, because if you trust too much, they gonna stab you in the back. But Strand
They
Anton was a
suspicious.
bitch. He was a bitch, and he ran from when he saw Daniel. That was funny. He was like, "Nope." It was like, "Oh no."
Oh yeah, but it was the flashbacks of Heath for me.
He
That really, I mean, not.
Wes.
Yeah, that was Heath, wasn't it?
No, Wes.
Wes.
That was
yeah,
Wes.
Wes.
my bad. It was the flashbacks that he was having of Wes for me. I couldn't. That was rough.
Yeah, he messed up.
Yeah, and I think partially when he saw Dan, he was like, "Here's another person who's going to be like Strand," and he didn't exactly part on good terms.
No.
It's like at the end when he cut him loose, he's like, "Thank you, my friend." He's like, "I'm not your friend."
That was what I'm sorry.
Daniel's one of those characters. I didn't like it when they wrote him to have dementia, but now that he's like somehow miraculously cured of that, I really.
It's because
enjoy
he's
him.
been drinking ginseng tea. Remember his special tea that he
So
was
this
drinking?
live stream is sponsored by ginseng tea. Drink that, you will not get dementia in an apocalypse.
At all.
Daniel's ginseng tea.
Daniel Jensen Tea. Coming right at you. Stores near you. Every location.
I love that.
Yeah. But Daniel and Strand always have that type of
Hate.
relationship. Like Daniel cannot stand Strand at all. It is fun to see. Sometimes they can get along. But with Strand, being Strand, it's kind of like Daniel's like, oh hell, you know what? No, we not. This is my friend. Hell no, we ain't friends. It's like, who said we friends? So stop that line.
Well, Strand has always been kind of this polished con man, kind of, and he always had a sense of, I am better than you. He always had that.
Always.
That feeling. Seeing him as Anton, there was still a little bit of it there, but it was much, much muted before he even, just seeing him, the way he enunciates his words is like, just makes me think he's a little fake. But, yeah. So
Well, he's a dad now.
Yes.
but
He did seem very different.
he did
Yeah.
seem different, but there
Good
was still
different.
a seed of Strand. A strand of Strand, if you will.
Well, I think we're going to see that, in later episodes, that he's going to use, his old tricks, but for good this time, and not for like worse. So
I know
He
how to
may
push
like
people off the
genuine
roof
fear.
of a building, and I
yeah,
will do that for good now.
yeah,
You could see like genuine fear in his eyes when he was talking about Strand
yeah.
versus Anton.
Right. But I mean, again, he could have came clean earlier and said, look, I was Victor Strand. I am now Anton. I gave up that part. Place is about second chances, right? Well, there you go. This is my second chance, my second name, my second life. And I think they would have accepted it. I mean, there is real affection between him and Frank, and of course, Klaus. So they could have just accepted, because Frank said, I'm not an idiot. I know there's stuff that you've not told me.
But there was a time and a place, and I feel like I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I think that he timed it perfectly and said it when he needed to say it the most. And it really meant something more when he said it in the moment he said it, right before what we thought was going to happen.
Well, I don't know that was the perfect moment. I mean, when he's about to get his head bashed in with a hammer, it's like, I mean, it was impactful, it was dramatic, but it would have been more interesting if they said, this guy's Victor Strand, and they're like, yeah, he used to be. Now he's Anton. So it would have like totally defanged the whole conversation, and Troy would have looked like an idiot.
That is your pet peeve, huh?
My pet peeve. People
It's like
not
you
being.
get-
There's a time and a place to lie. Like when I told Rick that all I wanted was Michonne. You know, it's like that was a little fib on my part. I also wanted to, basically wipe him and his prison off the face of the earth because I felt he was a threat. So there is a time to lie, but lying to your own, if he was truly trying to move forward, he could have just addressed that and made it a non-issue. But yeah, so he runs off, and then Branken's getting suspicious, but he which makes me think at the end he's like, no, this guy's Anton, not Victor Strand. But you saw him find this raft from years ago and find a sword that, was hidden there. Which, if he knew the raft was there, of course he would know the sword was there. So some of the suspicion was like, well, duh, if this was the raft that brought me here, I knew that the sword was here, so unless someone stole it, which they didn't. So
And he called him out. I think Frank did call him out, when they reunited with Klaus. That night, it's kind of like, oh, just like, where they found Madison's oxygen tank. And Frank was like, oh, just like how you found that long sword in that raft. Like,
well, he explained the long sword and the raft, so I don't know why he would, but I don't know.
It's like, tell me the truth. Like,
but this camp, I don't know who set up this camp initially, and what happened to him. I imagine it is the camp, because Strand later on said that he tried to help some of the other people that weren't taken by Padre because they drifted away in a different direction and they wouldn't trust him, and then they all died. So, but why he didn't go back and like rifle through their supplies over the 7 years that it's been there, that campsite didn't look that old. So
yeah.
I just wanted to point out really quick that Mullet Mayhem and Linda both said that Troy has mommy issues.
Oh, he does. He does.
For sure.
He does.
For sure.
I think I said on Twitter that it's like I said, do y'all remember in season 3 how uncomfortable we all were, how Troy would react, like either act towards Madison almost like in a loving type of relationship, and it's kind of like makes you feel uncomfortable. I'm like, he has mommy issues, and I think that he probably has feelings for Madison, but at the same time he wants to kill her.
Well, he feels betrayed. This is someone that he felt was like a mother, or he has a bit of an Oedipus complex or something like that. But he's, if he feels betrayed, and he's been hanging on to this thing for 10 goddamn years, and then wandering alone, and finally it's like, after how many years he decided, all right, let me gather some people to hunt down Madison. I don't know if he gathered those people immediately after he heard the transmissions, and so this is a new group to him. It does amaze me and fear how these people just somehow become leaders and join, like Ginny's another one. Ginny just became a leader, and again, in this society, I don't see that as a realistic thing. I'm not trying to be sexist, but there are a lot of men who feel that women should not be in positions of leadership, which is on their bad. I don't think there's anything wrong with women as leaders, but for her to be riding around, bossing these guys around, these basically guys who are like cowboys, and they're not exactly liberal Democrats, that people she's hanging with. I'm really surprised that she could be a leader, because some guy's going to be like, well, I can lead better than that bitch, and, basically.
Well, she probably got that, like that, whatever kind of leadership that she has, that, she holds them by the balls. I mean.
And so
You know,
I don't know if Troy is charismatic. I don't know the
Troy
character.
is charismatic in a way. He has that because Troy does have that leadership. But either you like him or not, Troy has that leadership. He has that leadership than his brother. You know, but in a demented type of way, because he did lead a group at one point in season 3,
Yeah.
and he can order people around. Because did he kill a family in season 3, an innocent family? Yeah, so him being a leader in this season, I'm not surprised, because that's him.
All right. So he decided over, since he heard Madison's voice, because I would find it hard to believe that he would have gathered these people years ago and they were running around looking for Madison with no success all this time and stuck with him. I mean, one of the troops was talking about how she was a collector. So it sounds like he heard the radio things. He found other people, and they're like, "Oh, we don't trust this Madison. She stole children and stuff." Oh yeah, well, see what she did to me? She made one of my eyes change color, and now chicks really love me. But he it was just very interesting how he became leader, and they have such loyalty to him.
And I think he just lied to him, just like, he knows what he had done to the lady.
Well, he
So-
told part of the truth. Oh yeah, she hit
and
me with a
then-
hammer.
yeah.
That's true.
And it's like, well, since Madison took the children, took the kids, oh well, even though I had done it, but she took something away from me, and I had people rallying up to him, and just like, yeah, she took something from me. It's kind of like, dude, you manipulating this people, thinking that she's the bad guy in your fight that you had with her, but it's you. You crazy as hell. It's nothing. It's just you. It ain't them and stuff. But people
And
still.
that kind of.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, what you were saying kind of reminded me of when they were in that, what looked like a library, and how Madison and Victor were having that conversation that they had with each other. I just wanted to quickly add how beautiful I thought that was, because Madison was so understanding. Like, I think that she could feel the compassion in his voice and see that there really was change. And it was kind of like they came together at this point and thought that they could honor Alicia together in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that it was beautiful. And I was starting to think to myself about, in that scene when they started knocking over the bookshelves and the walkers were coming over the bookshelves, I was wondering to myself, maybe you guys would know, have we ever seen variant walkers in Fear the Walking Dead?
Not that I can.
Because I
Not that I
started
know
to
of.
think, well, what if these walkers start picking up the bookshelves and pushing them out of the way?
Because I'm like, hey, one of them sliding down like it's on the slide. I'm like, hey, I was like, that's a variant. I was like, I don't know. I was like,
I was waiting for one. I was waiting for it.
yeah.
But then, we never got one. But then when Strand got his sword stuck in the one walker, I was like, oh my God, is he going to get bit? Is he going to get
Yeah.
bit? I was watching. I was like, is he going to get bit?
Yeah, that was a close call. I'm like,
Fear the Walking Dead, everybody dies at the end. Everyone gets bit. And the
I'm like,
final
are they gonna
scene
do-
is them all walking together in a herd off into the
I bet you
sunset.
that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. I promise you they're going to do. All of them going to turn walker. Hold hand in hand.
Somebody's going to die. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it was... I mean, I didn't like the lack of communication and the bad decision-making on the part of both Victor and Madison. But it was still enjoyable. And then, they get captured. All the biters are coming over the shelves. And then,
Yep.
I wasn't sure at first when they came in and started shooting all the biters if it was Daniel's group or if it was...
Yeah.
the ones that were chasing them. But it was the ones that were chasing them, and then...
I was hoping it was Daniel's group, but it wasn't.
But then they get dragged back to the emissary suites, and
Yep.
which was taken over pretty much so easily, because, they didn't exactly show them, walking through a bunch of dead bodies that died defending the place, and and then the big reveal of Troy, which again didn't have as much of an impact on me, not having seen this character before. So I'm like, yeah, I guess he's knows him from before. I gathered from the context, but. And of course, he's accusing Madison of all these things, but I'm sure there were reasons. Madison doesn't go around just hitting people in the head with hammers unless there's some reason for it,
Because I guess she found out about a lot of things about the hordes of the walkers that he had brought in that eventually got Ophelia killed. It's a lot of because he wanted to make a name for him, like want to have something big. He even said to Nick, I'm going to do something big. And Nick was like, boy, what are you doing? and so he killed a family, an innocent family. I mean, he was doing done a lot of stuff. And I think with this character named Walker, aka Taka, Native American dude, I think the whole storyline with that is that they took their land and whatnot, they wanted back.
Right.
Yeah, and so Otto was a racist. He was a bona fide racist, and so he would kill any of them, Walker's people, including Ophelia, who was a part of that group. And so Madison, during that season, and Alicia, they were on Otto's side for some reason, kind of get me mad. I'm like, Taka ain't going to be upset like this for a reason now. Hear his side of the story, then all of a sudden, Troy was crazy. Troy was crazy, and that's all it is to it.
Crazy.
Like crazy. So I think when she found out about the hordes of walkers, that's when she said he gotta go, and then just hit him twice.
And I thought it was messed up when he's trying to get into Daniel's head.
No, she didn't.
And I thought it was incredibly messed up that then he started to bring Daniel into it and say, oh, what I did to your daughter. Like, come on, that was unnecessary.
Oh.
And he does this now. So they're at the hotel.
He's just trying to hurt everybody.
Daniel rushes in. They basically take over, except for like Troy and two of his buddies seem to be the only operational members of his crew right there. And one of them has a rifle pointing, and it's like they're calling it a standoff. I mean, honestly, and again, this is what pisses me off. He's saying this stuff, how he's gonna, eventually get to Padre. He did this stuff to Daniel's daughter. All they needed to do was open fire. 3 people. Only one of them with a gun. Shoot that guy first. Shoot the other 2. No more Troy. No more worries about how the emissary suites now has to move to Padre.
Yeah, but like what Daniel said, that you don't know how many soldiers that Troy has. So it's almost like...
even if they still took the emissary suites people, if they kill Troy, how many of those people are going to be like, well, we're still mad at Madison for the... Well, we weren't there, so, we have an organized group here. Why don't we just, hey, this emissary suites place has been abandoned, but it seems like a good place. We'll move in. There we go.
And because Madison would gladly would take him in, and would tell him okay, I had to do what I had to do for my children. It was wrong of me doing that. I realize that now, and maybe they may not forgive her right off the bat, but eventually they may and stuff like that. But it's somehow that Troy just got into their soul. It's just she did this to me, but on a deeper level. I'm and just lied to him, saying she took a lot. She took my home. She killed my family. And so, of course, they're going to be on board.
I'd be very sympathetic towards that. But, if they had just shot Troy and ran off, I'd be like, okay, well, we could continue on Troy's quest for vengeance when he's not around to enjoy it. And these people have guns. They are dangerous. It wouldn't be a walk in the park. Why don't we just say, well, they're gonna probably stay away from here. And again, they took all these emissary suites people out. We've been looking for a place. This place is ready made. There's gardens. We could play some football / soccer. You know.
But Troy won what Madison have, though. You know, that's his main
but I'm
mission.
saying kill Troy. Simple.
Kill Troy.
In the chat, Amani talked about that. She said that Daniel should have shot him right then and there when he talked about Ophelia, and I didn't understand why they didn't just kill them. You can't keep people alive just to keep coming.
But
that makes a lot of
someone
sense.
else said because he was in the middle of his villain monologue. You
it
can't
really was.
interrupt that. It's union
I
rules.
can understand that because I would have shot Troy in a heartbeat. And at the same time, though, like
old Daniel would have.
Yeah, old Daniel would. Don't hesitate. But I think that through the years of when they've been out there, it's kind of like now you got to be strategic. How much you want to just go and just do it. Hey, I say, you know how many times I say I don't mind, don't mind killing somebody who's harming my family or what have you. Yeah, I will pop him in a heartbeat. But
and as much as I didn't like her, Charlie, I think gave him a lot of closure that he needed.
Exactly. And so when Daniel said we don't know how many people that Troy has, they could come bombard in front, in the back. It's almost like when Rick and them went to the outpost, they underestimated Negan, like how many people that Negan had. And they all over the woods.
Yeah,
right?
but again,
so,
if Troy has only been with these people for whatever 6 months, are they really going to throw away their lives to avenge him? You know, when he basically got into a firefight with a superior force. Or I mean, to be honest, if I was his second in command with the troops a few miles down the road, and then we go in there and we find out that the people cleared out, Troy was dead and everything. It's like, well, I don't know that we necessarily need to avenge Troy. If we get the opportunity, if it's there, we'll do it. But do we really want to chase people all up and down the all around the country and try to do that? But Philly Angel says, I can't believe Madison didn't call him out on what he did. She is the worst. She is the worst at that because, in the previous half of the season, when they're like, your mother was this, and who made, her mother believe that she could actually go up against Padre. She could have been like, you little bitch. I didn't kill her mother. Your troops did. I did not tell her mother to do that. And she ran off with a bunch of people because you took her kid. And then, your people shot her. I didn't do it, but she doesn't seem to want to contradict.
I think she was trying to keep the heat on herself, while at the same time trying to protect this other group because she knows how unstable Troy already is. And she doesn't want him to turn his anger on anyone else. I feel like if she would have said something like that, then maybe someone else would have tried to go after him and then would have been an innocent bystander that lost their life.
Yeah.
Right, but as soon as Daniel showed up, she could have been like, yes, I hit you in the head with a hammer. Didn't you kill a bunch of people? Weren't you a danger to a lot of people? That's why I did it. And then, of course, he had to say, I killed Alicia, who was, half biter anyway at this point. She was, sick with infection.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I don't think she's dead. I'm praying that she's not. I think that he's fibbing.
Well,
I think
he
might have her prisoner.
Back, though. Does she want to come back to the series even for a cameo? I don't even know that.
I think for them to have a reunion needs to happen. Madison and Alicia reunion needs to happen because just to have thinking that when Alicia went off the way she did, and then here comes Madison, it's just like that. To me, that was a punk move on the writer's part.
They swapped
bring
out the
Madison,
Clarks.
and while Alicia goes, it's kind of like y'all just off. Like,
Well,
y'all
I
just,
guess they wanted, to have more than one person from season 1 in the show. They got Daniel and, Strand, who knew where the hell he was, for the first half of the season. But they had, they're like, well, we don't want people complaining that nobody from the first season is still around. Frog Lord says, what the hell's the topic and who are you? They call me the governor. These are my friends. We're talking about Fear the Walking Dead, and we have opinions.
exactly.
I mean, it's just the Fear writers always seem to come up with the lamest excuses for not doing what should be done, and it's like I don't know if they don't know people. But again, Daniel, for the fact that it's been years since he was that guy, and he's much more, chill, he would have recognized Troy's a threat. Again, there's 3 of them against everybody, and we saw Sherry and we saw Luciana, and they all had weapons, pointed, which it was good to have, everybody there and back. And where the hell had Luciana been? Was she even in the first half?
Yeah.
It's like...
She came in, in the hotel? Or the ranch?
Yeah, she was in the hotel.
Yeah.
She was one of the people, and they're all pointing guns. And unless they didn't have ammo, again, 3 people, they're gone. Daniel's like, we don't know how many troops he has. Well, you shoot him and 2 others, he's got 2 less, and he's not leading anymore. So and then you do what you're gonna do, get the hell out of there. It's they just Fear usually makes bad decisions.
I kind of have this feeling in the back of my mind that well, I guess if in a perfect world, that I feel like Al somehow found Alicia. And I would really love if Al hooked up with her girlfriend from the CRM, and now they're kind of like working with each other. And Al found Alicia, and then she brought her into the CRM. And I think that maybe there was like some kind of weird standoff, and they got Alicia, but Alicia lost her arm.
Maybe.
Or something like that. And then that's where everything starts to link back together, and then Madison will eventually find Alicia again.
Hey, that makes sense.
It's possible, or it's possible that Troy there didn't kill Alicia, and he's just keeping her for leverage, but he wanted to hurt Madison that moment, so he said he killed her. But he's gonna actually eventually be like, you remember when I said I killed Alicia? I didn't. You will open up these gates to us, or I will right now.
Or maybe one of the people that he's with right now kind of is a double agent and is close to Alicia. And when they found Madison, that he kind of turns and is like, hey, I know Alicia. This is what's happening. I'm here to tell you.
Well,
I mean, I don't think it's that far-fetched.
Oh, it's not far-fetched.
I don't know. You can't trust anybody being dead in this show unless you see their head explode. Then...
And that's what they said. They said no one's gone until they're gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And many people was like, how can
Not
Troy
too
be
far
alive?
gone. Oh, wait, that's a different show.
Yeah, people was like, how can Troy be alive? Why y'all bring him back? I said, well, we only saw his body and we saw water. We didn't see him like if he escaped or not. So it did leave, if you look back on it, it kind of did leave that open ended, kind of like, is he alive or is he dead? If you really truly think about it. Almost like with Madison, how they just, she was on the Talking Dead too. Kim Dickens was on Talking, oh yeah, I'm not going to be on the show no more. Yeah, she's killed off and whatnot. It's kind of like, Really? Like, no. Like, we need to see your dead. That sounds so demented as hell.
Well,
No, we need to see your dead body,
did you
girl.
see the previews? One of Madison's, missions now is to find Bida Alicia and kill her. Which, I mean, I understand you don't want to think about your child wandering around as a Bida, potentially chomping into people. But honestly, is that a priority? I mean, you have living people to deal with, and you're going to risk yourself by going into herds looking
That's
for
her
your
baby.
daughter?
That's her
I
baby.
think that's a mother instinct.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's her baby. Madison had always done
she
stuff.
gave away, she basically stayed away from them for how many years after the stadium, to basically protect them. But, I mean, you use your brain. That's just a body. It's no longer Alicia. That's not
but
her.
that's still her baby though. But that's still her baby. That's her child. I mean, I think no matter if you're a mother or father, if you know that your loved one, your son or your daughter is out there, you're gonna find them no matter what. And
Or you
if
can
they're
feel
alive,
it.
yeah. But if they're dead, if they're a Bida, it's like if I
But
come across them, I will end them. But I'm not going to.
That's just Kim. That's Madison.
That's just Madison again
Yeah, that's
making bad
Madison.
decisions based on
That's her baby. Because that's the reason why now and this is where I kind of agree with Troy now, that I'm thinking that he's lying about Alicia, because Madison always does stuff for her kids. It's always about Nick and Alicia. It was Nick, it was Nick, Alicia, Travis, and Travis died. Now it's like all about my kids. Now it's like, who are you fighting for, Madison? Now that your children is gone.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know what? I really want to know, because you always said it is your kids. Is it Strand that you know for a long time? Is it Daniel? Is it Luciana? Even June? Okay. But yeah, like, who are you fighting for? And so I think if she finds Alicia, if Alicia is dead and kill Alicia, I think that she's gonna put in the perspective, like, you know what, I'm fighting for all of us. I know I was concentrating on my children, but I'm gonna fight for I'm gonna fight for all of us.
Now, Phil the Angel says it still bothers me that Aaron never found Eric, but he did. He did find the biter Eric, I believe. Am I the only one who remembers him finding him? And
Wait, who? Aaron?
Aaron finding Eric.
Yeah.
And he found after he left the wounded Eric, and then he succumbed to his wounds. He found the biter version, and he put him out. And again, I can understand why people would want to do that, but I think it's just a bad decision. It's like, if I come across this person that I know as a biter, of course I'm gonna end them. But am I gonna be like searching all around for them? No. Yeah, and Big Rob says
I don't think
alive.
Aaron ever found Eric.
Yeah,
I could swear he
he
did.
saw him walk away.
Or he saw him walk away and he didn't pursue him, but he found him.
Yeah, he saw him as a walker, but he never pursued it.
Yeah, which is his decision. Hey, let someone else deal with it. So, but yeah, I recall seeing Eric as a biter. So that's
From behind, yeah.
I think Madison just want to know if it's real, and that's the reason why she decided to go find Alicia. Kind of like, is Troy messing with me? Let me go see if he's for real. Because if he's not, then
it is funny.
I think she lived for so long being a half biter, anyways. Like, it would just be silly to have killed her off. I feel like she probably, if anything, that probably made her stronger in the end. I mean, especially if the CRM found her, if Althea found her and took care of her and nursed her back to health.
Well, I don't know. It would have been funny if Troy had shown up and showed that arm, and no one was there to corroborate the fact that Alicia had that arm.
Oh my gosh, but my heart fell when she took it out, and she was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
She
it
didn't
belonged
know.
to Alicia. If no one was there to be like, well, yeah, that was what she used as an arm because she got bit and, got cut off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're gonna have that talk.
But if,
Like, yeah.
but
Like,
it's
you
like
could,
otherwise she'd be like, if there was no one there to corroborate that story, it'd be like, how do I know this
Oh
is
yeah,
Alicia's?
there's somebody,
I don't
but
fucking
Strand
believe you.
killed him. So Strand killed him. Will. He threw Will off the roof. That was a witness. Yeah. So yeah, he was the one that saw Alicia getting her arm, chopped off and with the little stuff. And Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Morgan didn't even tell Madison about the how Alicia's arm was because they both was working. Madison.
I mean, and is it
Morgan.
really
No
important, by the
communication.
way, in addition to your daughter being dead, she was also maimed. I thought I'd throw that in just so you get the full amount of grief that you could possibly have.
Ugh.
Well, remember they got separated when they made it to that mainland, so maybe Morgan didn't think it was important to tell, and just kind of would leave it up to Madison if she found her.
Froglord in the chat says Herschel should come back. First of all, Herschel can't come back. I already cut off his head. His head was stabbed by Michonne. So there's no way that he can be put into an aquarium.
He could only come back in flashbacks if they used AI, because
if they use
unfortunately the
AI or
actors passed
archival
away
footage, yeah. Scott Wilson,
Yeah.
rest his soul. Great guy, loved his cigars, loved his fans, loved the Herschel head that I have over there. But, yeah.
And I actually was just talking about that on my Instagram. If anybody saw it, I was like, oh my God, I would shit myself if Glenn came back in like new flashbacks. If they brought Stephen Yeun back for some kind of capacity in Dead City, like something there. Oh my gosh, I would love that.
They could do it like
Love it.
Dexter and have Maggie like talking to a dead person in her mind, kind of like what James Remar was in the Dexter
But it
main
really be
series.
Steven. Yeah, new footage. Yeah.
And Jennifer Carpenter in New Blood, basically, she's like, I got Negan good. And it's like, and then like Glenn shows up and it's like, was that really what you should have done?
Well, and the reason why I had that like hope is because I saw a picture the other day of Stephen Yeun and Norman Reedus together, and I was like, "Ooh, what if Daryl starts to talk about what happened in the lineup, or something with Glenn, and then Glenn comes back and he's on the show Daryl Dixon for some reason." I don't know. I was just like,
or Steven could have been guest starring on Ride.
or that.
It's like there's lots of things. Or maybe they're bringing Norman in to, well, not right now, but maybe they were thinking about bringing Norman in to voice a character on Invincible. So
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities, but that was my Walking Dead heart speaking.
yeah, unfortunately, things are done. But yeah, I'm not hating this as much as I despised the first part of this season, because Morgan had changed in the first part of the season to like, all right, let me just give up and I'll hunt children, and I'm gonna give up Mo to Padre. All that was just such a shift. So far, Strand being a liar and Madison being pig-headed, that's all in character. It's all good. So this is, they're not fundamentally changing these characters, so it's not horrible. But again, they make bad decisions, and Daniel should have just been like, "You kill Ophelia? I killed you."
But can
Dead.
I say that? Can I say this? I know the chat mentioned this, but Denai Garcia, she did a good job directing this episode.
Yeah, she did.
You gonna play as Luciana? Yeah, she did it. I'm like, y'all need to keep her on board because
Yeah.
whatever she's doing. I mean, I was so shocked. to know that she directed this episode. But yeah, so good job, Denai.
Yeah, she did well. It'd be nicer if, the writers actually had logical scripts to work with for her, but
I used to talk to her name is Jamie O'Brien. She was the one that had done a couple of episodes of season 3. One, My Brother's Keepers. That's when Jacob had died. She had written that. She had written that part of the episode, and she did AMC Nosferatu. And I'm like, girl, when are you gonna come back on Fear? I said because
the writers need help.
Like, I hope you come back because I don't know what these two dudes are doing. It's almost like, I know, again, Alex haven't seen the show. It's almost like Game of Thrones. It's like, well,
Yeah,
y'all just giving up. Y'all just giving up. It's like, just give it to the next person then, and stop wasting our time. But yeah, Denai did a good job though.
Yeah.
Give her a title card, okay? Fear. Give Luciana a title card, okay? Everybody has a title card except for her. Come on now.
Yeah, so Big Rob says, so in the words of the governor, this episode didn't torture me. That is true. It was not as bad a torture as the previous season. I was only exasperated maybe a quarter of the time, not like all the time. So that's pretty much it for this particular episode. Looking forward to seeing where it goes, and it looks like, Strand being outed, he's going to be back with everybody, and a lot of people are still not going to trust him, which he totally fucking deserves, because he was an asshole. All right, so final thoughts and shameless self-promotion. Let's start with Alex.
Hello, everybody. I'm TWD Mommy, and I am on Instagram at the same name, and I do reactions on YouTube. And what I want to say is I think that I'm not going to believe that Alicia is dead until we see some proof. Nobody's gone until they're gone. I'm going with it. And I really think that the last episodes have started in a good place, and I feel like we're going to end in a good place, and it already kind of made me feel a little bit emotional, especially seeing Strand and Madison together and having those talks, and the death of Strand and the birth of Anton. And I think that they're just going to keep going off of that. I'm excited to see what happens next, and I'm very excited to see what happens next. And I love these little discussions. I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have another person. We'll see. We'll see who else we can recruit. Bebe, take it away.
Well, y'all can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, dim_mayhem, DYM. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Honey Baby Kids Academy. I really truly love this episode. I love the fact that Madison had mentioned a bird, Wilhelmina, that she had talked about, with Althea in season 4. When I thought that was a cool, how she entered, how she added that on, talking to Klaus about the bird. I love the fact that it is a fresh start. It is really fresh, but it is a good fresh in a way that it's the fear that, honestly, that I've been missing. So seeing at the end Strand, Daniel, Madison in center front is just like, oh, we are going back to how it was. So I hope this was a good episode. I hope the rest of the episodes are good. Okay, don't disappoint me, okay? Because I will be mad as hell. Y'all better end it with a bang. That's all I want. Just end it on a good note. And I love Fear. I do love it. Ups and downs, I love it.
And, of course, I am the governor here on Fandom Spotlight. We have all kinds of stuff coming out. And as far as my thoughts on the episode, like I said, it wasn't bad. But, again, I see the writers making decisions for the characters, or the characters are just stupid. For certain things, not Madison not going along with the Anton stuff until she learned more information. Victor not cluing her in, and then, not killing off Troy as soon as they found out, it was him behind it. It's like, here's the big boss. You got a bunch of guns pointed at the big boss who's just swore that he's going to come and get you. It's like, no, you're not. Bang. Simple. It's just, I'm going to go along for the ride for this season, but I just hope that people make better decisions. It just seems that they make decisions based on, okay, we need to keep this villain going for like at least a few more episodes, if not the entire rest of the series. So let's not kill him too soon.
And for goodness sake, we need to have better communication so Kyle's not upset about it anymore.
Well, yes, communication is key. 100%. But we will be back next week. Hopefully the three of us will be joined by some other people. We will see what happens. By the way, for those of you who asked about Rhina, Werewolf, I've been in communication with her. She, hasn't really been able to watch the two shows. She wasn't able to watch Dead City. She wasn't able to watch the Daryl Dixon show because where she is, they don't get it. And I'm going to be sending her.
Daryl's just coming out there, I think the second week of November, they said.
Yeah, so she wasn't
really?
able to join. She's also had some health issues which she's dealing with, but she's, thanks everyone for their concern. And hopefully when we do our 2 Monday trivia, so what we're going to do on the actual anniversary of when the first show ended, we're going to do a trivia that day. But there's also Fear. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 11 trivia questions, and then we're going to talk about Fear. And then the following week, which is the final episode of Fear, we're going to do 11 more trivia questions for Walking Dead, and we're going to talk about the finale and say goodbye to Fear until a year later when we do a Fear thing, which I'm pretty sure, Alex is going to be like, hey, we should do, it's been a year, come on, let's,
Yeah, I will.
Yes, she will.
Be last place. Nobody gonna take my spot.
I'm sure, well, if it was Fear trivia, you'd probably beat me so badly. So
I don't know about that.
Baby, Jazz gave you a run for your money.
No. I gave a point away. I gave a point away. I was like, no, nobody can take my last place. Street. No. I'm gonna be a queen.
But,
I love Jazz, but I'm gonna be a queen on this last place.
But baby, you did good in the later seasons. We're gonna do all seasons, so you might do well in the second half.
I hope so.
at least it'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
But Mitchell, are you just joining us? Because we're wrapping up. Sheesh, man.
Mitchell.
But thanks
Hello.
everyone for joining us. I'm glad that people are actually showing up for this show and our discussion of it. Yeah, I guess I'm Chris Hardwick. I'm Chris Hardwick. Welcome to Talking Dead. Did I do an okay impression?
He just wanted to hear you say it. Say it, baby.
That's
Busy.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late.
We're like, we just did goodbyes.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. I ended up going to the gym and I totally lost track of time.
He's
And then
getting
by the
pumped
time I got
up.
home,
Sheesh.
you got a promotion? Nah, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, well, we're saying goodbye now, but stick around. We'll chat afterwards. So this is Busy Ron. He usually joins us. He will hopefully be on time next week, or I will know why. I will hunt you down, Mask
That's
Boy.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But tell everyone
I'll
who
give
you
you
are,
my
and then
other
we're going
eye.
to say goodbye.
See you later, people. Are we just waving now? That's what we're doing?
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
so
much.
Let's do the awkward stuff.
Yeah, the awkward stuff.
Yeah, look, everyone look awkward. Thanks so much for coming, and we will see you guys next week. Governor and this amazing crew that just increased by one out of the fucking blue. We are out. Everyone look awkward.
running towards a vicious dream. Don't you know we